Hi everyone and welcome to the masterclass this month. It's going to be in two sections. So there's part one and part two. And we are doing the boat metaphor, the 8 elements of your life. And the reason I've split it up is because this class, we're going to go over the 8 elements and all the different sections. And there's because obviously there's 8 of them, there's quite a lot to go through. So I didn't want to then bombard you with loads and this be a long recording and you all get really bored. So what we do is go over the 8 elements and get an understanding what the whole concept of it is. And then in part 2, which you can then watch after either straight away if you want to, or you can come back to it later on at any point. What we're going to do is we're going to go into it a lot more detail, and we can also go into you putting it into your life. So there will be a worksheet as well if you want to go through that, and to really then look at what it is that is then out of sync, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when we start going through this. So yeah, it's in 2 parts. There's a bit of just getting general information, which you can just watch here. And then in the second one, we will go into it a lot more detail. And you will get a lot more out of that, I think, when you start looking at it. So I will share my, there we go. So we've got the 8 elements of your life, and it's the sailboat metaphor. I like this quote because it's, "I'm not afraid of the storm, for I am learning how to sail the ship." Because sometimes it's so easy for us to be afraid to do something. But when we look at it as that's not being fearful because I'm learning something, I find it is easier. You know, we are realizing we are then sailing through life because that's what it is we're doing. We're moving through and learning. So we don't need to be afraid of any of the storms that we are given. So the goal over the next couple of masterclasses is to help you realize that you are the captain of your own ship and to act accordingly. So in everyday life, you know, this is the realization that you are the only one who can change your own behaviors. This reality allows you to behave in line with your personal values and take responsibility of your own actions. Oh, sorry. The key step in this process is the development of a balanced and complete perspective of oneself, to consider all factors of our daily behavior and experiences, you know, both positive and negative, and the things we can control and we can't control, because there's so many things in our life that's uncontrollable. But by becoming aware of this and becoming aware of our personal strengths and weaknesses, that is the key, and our weaknesses. I know for some of us, we don't even see our strengths and all we see is our weaknesses. But it's not just seeing them, as you've heard me say plenty of times, don't just see your weakness and use that as an excuse or beat yourself up because you have that weakness. See the weakness and find a way to work with it. And just believe in yourself with your strengths. Make sure you remind yourself of your strengths as well. Or don't just focus on those strengths and forget everything else, because you need the balance between the two. So be aware of our personal strengths and weaknesses, of the factors that can be controlled and those that are beyond our control, and of a positive and negative social force. We can learn to navigate our way through life with ease. So the boat metaphor. Okay, I had put up that I'd started to do some research because I'd seen this from the positive psychologist, and it resonated with me. For a lot of you, you know, I lived on a boat for a few years in Bermuda, and I've also sailed, luckily, in some very beautiful places as Grenada, Sicily, Thailand, and Malaysia. I've been in some charity races with some of the crew and technician people from the America's Cup. They completely showed that everything does not need to be perfect when you're doing something. The picture down on the right hand side of the catamaran with a load of us on the back, the race had started and they were still fixing stuff because one of the winches wasn't broken as the race was going on and we were sailing. It was very much, let's get on with this. They were trying to fix it before we were getting going, and because this is what the guys did all the time, you know, that's what they did. They fixed the sailboats, that they were just getting on with it. So we were racing along, all trying to get around this, because you do have to learn and go with things, because things break sometimes. Someone went to use it and it didn't work, and instead of sitting back and go, we can't do, they just went along with it. So another thing that I really, really loved about this metaphor, because it was something that I'd learned. I mean, I've been learning things through my life, but I learned loads by living on a boat. You have to think very differently. You just about with the way you're living on a boat, you have to be very aware and thoughtful of everything you're doing. But also, I think it just made you're in a very small space, and I was in a small space with my husband at the time, a teenager, and a dog. So everything is very on top of each other. I think a lot of people thought I was mad taking a teenager onto a boat. But, you know, I think there were some good lessons for him as well. So by looking at this, it really did resonate with me, because they are challenges that we all have to go through. And when we put them into our life, you really get quite a lot out of it. So by comparing the human functions to a sailboat and its journey, it helps us understand the perspectives of oneself. So here are the 8 elements. Let me just move this out of the way. I don't want to be blocking anyone's view. So the center, the main boat, is you. So this is us. And from 2 to 6, so this section here represents inside the self. And 1, 7, and 8 represents outside the self. And as you can see, there is more about us than outside. And so easily we stop ourselves doing things because of outside circumstances and other people and our environment, when actually the bigger chunk of it is about focusing on us. So what you will see as we go through, and we will talk a lot more about in part 2, but I am going to generally go over it, is that if we don't have all of these 8 working together, we don't actually move properly. We can move, but we're not moving with ease. And we end up coming back where we were because we've not dealt with something. So we're breaking down all these elements today. So 1 down here at the bottom, is water. And water is our reality and our environment. So a boat, no boat can move actually with no water. When it's in isolation and out of it, it just can't move. So what it's representing, the water, is our environment, our playground. So such as our job, our house, our profession, you know, where we're actually living. So our direct physical reality, okay? So they're all the elements that we look at. So to give you an example about how it doesn't all work together, if you were moving a boat forward and you're moving forward and you have a leak, which is number 4, which are weaknesses, we can move forward because we can use the sails for the strength, but we're still dragging a leak and the boat will end up sinking. So it's the same with us. We can go and use our strengths, but if our weaknesses are our negative that are pulling us back, it will drain us and it will drown you, and it will get the better of you. That then kicks off number 6 of the compass, like your fears and feelings and emotions. So you have to have all of it working together. Because many of us want to change our environment, which is fine. We've all done it. We've all wanting to change where we live. We want to change our job. And if that's because you're improving yourself and you're doing it with your job and everything to get better, or, you know, to just a different environment, that is fine. But if you're leaving because you've got a bad boss or some colleagues that you don't get on with, you can move forward because we can change and everything. But if you're still sitting in those emotions and the weakness that's of why you're having trouble with those people, wherever you go, that will be the same again. So remember, when we're changing our environment, make sure that we are looking at what it is, why we're changing. And if it is because of a reason, look at that issue before you change. So number 2 is the steering wheel. And that's our needs, our values, and our meaningful direction. And again, if we don't have these, we get lost. We can keep going, but we get lost and we end up back where we are. When we have real meaning and value and know what it is we're doing, we can then get our goals and wishes a lot easier, because even when something tough is thrown at us, those values are there behind to keep you going. So these are our current values that are needed right now. We steer from these to get our direction. If we steer with fear, which is from element 6, the compass, we won't get far and the problem ends back right where it started. So again, all the time, bring back to, what do I need? What's right at the moment? What is it that I'm needing, and your values? Number 3 is our destination, our goals, our dreams, our wishes. The destination helps us stay focused and on track. Even when there's obstacles, like element 7, like uncontrollable circumstances, or even our weaknesses come up, or our compass and our feelings come up, we are able to get through them. Achieving goals helps us build confidence. The cell, element 5, our strengths become stronger. So you can already see, as we're working from 2 to 3, if we've got our values and our needs at that time, we're able to stay focused on those goals when obstacles come. So they're reinforcing, which then reinforces number 5, which is our strength, to keep us moving. So when an uncontrollable situation comes, we can logically and clearly work through them instead of working from our emotions. And I'm not saying, again, you've always heard this, that's an easy, natural thing. Those feelings, emotions will come up. I can be very logical about something, but an emotion will still come with it. But because I have my values and my goals, I'm able to pull it all apart to go, okay, yeah, I've cried, I've had this thing, that's my emotion, I understand that. This is the logic of it, okay, this is where I am. Yes, I understand that, but this is a feeling. I need to work on that feeling so I'm able to move forward. So then there's no lashing out because I'm in the emotion instead of the logic. There's no reaction to anyone else. There's no stopping me because I'm seeing it from all angles. So number 4 is our leaks, our weaknesses, and ineffective coping. These really hinder our values and our goals. They reduce our personal well-being. When we are in and living constantly in our weaknesses and allowing it to stop us, we're not at our full capacity of our well-being. We're not fully happy and we're not functioning properly. Negative thinking and behavior can de-energize and weaken our cells, which is our strengths. They will knock the wind completely out of our cells. So that's why we need to understand our weaknesses. So again, we can see what it is, so it doesn't just knock us sideways. So number 5 is our strengths, our resources, and our effective coping. The cell includes ways of thinking, behaving, and feeling that energizes us as the user. So when we're thinking strong and feeling strong and behaving strong, we have more energy. And those then enable us to optimize functioning. Sorry, my brain is not working today, is it? Development and performance. I will say that again properly. They enable optimal functioning, development, and performance. So that's why when we talk about being positive, not positive over to just knock out the negative, but seeing it from both sides and then bringing on those strengths and going, okay, I might not be able to do this, but I can do this. So that's my strength. Okay, this is my weakness. What do I need to help me fix that leak? So then this can be stronger. So then that's not counteracting and knocking the thought pattern out. Number 6 is our compass. And this is our internal feedback, our feelings and our emotions and our intuition. The compass provides feedback on the current direction in which we are heading. The inner experiences like feelings, emotions, and intuition serve as tools to navigate both positive and negative ways. So when we're living off the negative feelings or fears or anything, it will stop and send us in the wrong direction. Because when we're going with fear, it's not going to send us through the storm, it's going to send us off in another direction. And sometimes we have to go through that storm or face things or deal with things so we can actually move forward. Because when we go in the other direction, it takes us back round and another drama happens and we end up exactly where we were before. And you know in your head you're repeating the same things again to people. And then we got number 7. So now we're looking at what is outside of us. All those 2 to 6 were inside us. So outside of us is the weather, which is uncontrollable circumstances. So the weather is like representing things that we can't control in our life. Sometimes we can work with those circumstances, and other times we have to accept what is happening and find a way to move through the storm. So it's just like what I was saying. Sometimes these things do get thrown at us, but we have to work through them, because by avoiding them, it really doesn't help. We have to accept this is the way it is. We can say it's unfair, and it is unfair. Excuse me. But we do sometimes just have to accept and work with what we've got. And so, they are thrown at us in lots of different ways and come out in many different factors. And it's just, again, when we come out of our emotions and our weaknesses, we can see it for what it is. Number 8 is other boats. This represents other people, peers, family. Other boats in the sea represent the people that surround us. Some of those people we choose to be around, some we don't. It's just because we have to be for different reasons. Sometimes we have people around us that support what we are doing. And at other times we have people that disagree with what we have chosen. But if we stick to our values and our goals, it's better for our well-being, not everyone else. This is one of the, well, we're going to go through all of them, but this is one of the things we will be working on part 2, about sticking to what your values are and what's right for you and not for others. And understanding why people are struggling with your decisions. So a recap on the boat metaphor, it's to help us realize that you are the captain of your own ship and to act accordingly. The realization that you are the only one who can change your own behaviors. This reality allows you to behave in line with your personal values and take responsibility of your actions. By becoming aware of your personal strengths and weaknesses, of the factors that can be controlled and those that are beyond your control, and of positive and negative social forces, we can learn to navigate our way through life with ease. So in next masterclass, in part 2, we're going to take a look at ourselves and our lives. Don't get scared by this, it's not that bad. But what we're just going to do is I'm going to give you another video and I'm going to be talking through, but there's also going to be a PDF worksheet for you to go through with questions. And we're going to go through and help you break down what you're struggling with and how we can work through that. And so the more we look at what it is that and break it up in the metaphor of what area, it doesn't merge into one, and it's easier for us to be more self-aware. And then we have the more self-love and self-care, and we will then work what is right for our well-being and our happiness. So I hope this has given you a bit of an idea, because what I wanted to do is for you to think about what it is that I was taught through today, and then move on to the other one, because just getting the understanding of it all, and I know it's very basic and everything, but you know, there's enough information there for you to be able to think at your life and what it is. So we are going to next point be putting us as you in the middle of the circle. So your face will be pictured on the boat, and then you're going to start looking at, okay, this is, do I have my values? Do I have this? And that's what the worksheet's all about. So really have a scan back over if you need to. We do go through it in the next video, but it's about just understanding what it is. Or take this video today and just listen to it again if you need to, and just sort of take in the information, because sometimes just that information will spark you enough to get a bit of an understanding. It depends where you are, but if you want a bit more from it, then work through part 2 and the worksheet. I look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Bye.